All right, so like this is the first actual live bloke show ever. You know this, so it's not really a privilege or anything. So don't feel honoured about it. It's just one of those things.
It's not on a momentous occasion, no?
Not at all, not at all. It was gonna happen eventually because usually it's just me and my mate Fosh that do it, but he's been busy getting his life in order, I guess. He recently got engaged, he's got a cat, he's moved in with his missus, so I've just been doing it on my ones for a good few months. Um, so yeah, as it transpires, I figured let me just do a live one, and you're the first victim, so to speak. So welcome to the Bloke Show UK for your debut as well.
Ah, yeah, it is my debut. A show I heard a lot about, and I've listened to a few episodes. The last one being you recording an episode in your car,
Yeah.
and you were banging on about traffic, the tube, or so. And I started cracking. I was agreeing with everything you were saying, mind you. I was like, okay, okay,
The thing
okay.
is that people that listen to it, especially those people in America, that obviously America's a much bigger place than the UK, and it's all hustle and bustle in certain states and whatnot. But they just cannot
Mm,
fathom how difficult we have it out here. Like, oh, you
mm.
guys have got so many problems with your transport system. Like, yeah, you don't understand. Unless you live here or you visited this place, you will not fully comprehend how fucked up London transport is.
Oh yes, oh yes.
You,
I mean,
it's,
to be honest, lots of people keep telling me, "Oh, we don't know how lucky you have it over there. At least they work." And I'm like, "Yeah, but it's a potluck thing. It really is a potluck thing.
uh-huh.
Sometimes they decide to work, sometimes they don't. When they do work, it's probably late."
The thing is, right? I've been to Germany. I've got mates that have been to Germany, and some that actually live in Germany, and everything works like clockwork out there. And
Mm,
I hear people say, "Oh well, the Europeans have learnt from Britain's mistakes for the transport system," which I understand because it's the same thing with like going on to football, like the VAR technology. It's like the Premier League are waiting for the European leagues to get theirs all down patted, so to speak, before we were like, "Yeah, we're going to go into doing ours." But it's the same sort of thing with the transport system. But then when you look at the bigger picture, obviously London is overpopulated. There's nothing we can really do about it. There's nothing we can say
mm.
about it. And we can't really complain because obviously it's helping the economy and whatnot. But the other day I went to Hammersmith, Piccadilly line from Wood Green. Yeah, you live in Palmer's, don't you? So you don't live too far, do you? From me, anyway.
Mm, mm, mm.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
but
yeah,
that's
pretty close, pretty close.
yeah. So I live up Enfield. So my nearest tube station should actually really is what Cockfosters, but because Mumsy lives all the way down in
Oakwood,
Wood Green. Yeah, Oakwood. Yeah, I'd say that. Oakwood, Southgate, Cockfosters, that
yeah.
that little area. But Mumsy lives down in Wood Green ways, Edmonton ways. So Wood Green's the local station from there. So I would effectively
Mm,
leave my car there and get the bus to the station and then go from there. And
mm,
it took
mm.
45 minutes to get to Hammersmith, which is fine because obviously it's a fair distance. And if you're driving to Hammersmith from this part of London, fuck it, you can look at about an hour and a half of traffic.
At least, yeah.
Where you're going to park and all that kind of shit. So obviously it's taken all of that out of the equation. However, on the flip side, you go on the platform and it says your next train is 1 minute. The train comes and let's say it's rammed and you can't get on. You go wait for another one 4 minutes later and you're looking at the platform. You're like, safe. I'm one of 15 people, for example. But 4 minutes is a long time underground. It's like a week because
Yeah, it really is.
because
During
all
rush hour, 4 minutes is an age
oof,
during
forget
rush
it,
hour.
man. Forget it. And it's summertime as well, where everyone is using London transport. Fuck that. No,
Yeah,
no, 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 no,
yeah,
no. So 4 minutes later, or 3 minutes, 50
yeah.
time, you see the train pull up, and you've got everyone on that fucking platform. And the worst thing about it is that they read their papers in your face. If you've got a seat, then you're fine. Because all you need to worry about is someone possibly stepping on your toe or putting their luggage on your foot. That's it.
Yeah.
But forget it. And I'm stocky as fuck. And I don't like people having their armpits in my face, and I don't like people touching me. Like it's just one of those things.
No, same. I
So,
am very aware of personal space,
bro,
especially when I'm on the tube.
bro, this is
And
go on, Karen.
No, what I was gonna say is I'm such a tube veteran now. I know exactly when these damn doors on the tube, whenever like they arrive on the platform,
Hmm.
I'm right by a door because I
Mine.
don't want no idiot pushing me to the. Because I get mad real quick on a tube. Like I always have a mean mugging face on the tube in the morning because normally you'll have some idiot that don't understand that the tube is too full, and they try and walk through. The amount of times I've been like, nah, bruv, too full. Sorry. Because what do you want to do? Do you want to stand on me? What you want to do?
Yeah, yeah.
So I mean mug the whole way to work. The whole way to work.
Bruv, do you know what annoys me about this though? Is like, I know exactly what you're talking about because there's always that one person that tries to get on just so you hear beep, 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 and then he goes,
Yeah.
right? And then
Yeah.
you hear the boom because the doors are closed, and then all of a sudden, beep, beep, beep,
Yeah.
again, like, what the fuck is going on? Like, and then you got one prick who's up, like maybe has got their jacket caught in the door, or this.
Yeah. Yeah. It always happens, and you just know it's gonna be your carriage as well because it's that idiot that got on last second.
Yeah.
And it's just like, bro, why did you have to run in here? And now you're in everybody's way for when inevitably those doors open at the next stop, and because you're too daft to get off the tube and let people off, you just stand in people's way as they're trying to get out. Oh, let me started, bro. Let me started.
There's no etiquette underground. That's the thing. That's what people need to realize.
No.
I used to work for
Yeah.
Orange, right? I used to work for Orange, now known as EE, right? And I was a sales exec, and we're talking 2007. So about a good 10 years ago.
Okay.
And there was four of us in our team, and three of us were based in London. And one of them left. So me and this other guy, we got half and half. So he got he got south and east, and I got north and west. That's how we divided the patch. And every now and again, because we were so busy in what we were doing, even though we were the least experienced, we were getting that experience because we were thrown in the deep end. So what they were doing is even you guys that were coming in from different regions, like putting someone in Leeds, putting someone in Manchester, whatever, they'd send them to London to shadow us, or we'd shadow them, so to speak, and show them the ropes. So I'd say to one of them, like Steph, for example, she'd come down and say, right, meet me in Victoria Station at 10 o'clock. And she's like, well, why don't I meet you at 9? I says, you do not know London transport. Believe me, if you take your train, so for example, I don't know if she came from Leeds, or I don't know which train she would get. It wouldn't be East Midlands trains. It would be something like that. Anyway, so she'd come down and I said, listen, take your time, because if you get to London by 7, 8 o'clock, 8 o'clock is rush hour, you're going to be fucked. Forget it. Even if you expect me to be there at 9 o'clock, it ain't going to fucking happen. So I say to her, meet me at 10 o'clock. We'll get a coffee and go to our stores and do what we've got to do, right? She would come down and she'd be one of the, before coming to London, she'd be one of the nicest, pleasant people you'll ever meet in your life. She gets to London and she changes. Either she feels like she's been violated, or she's just pissed because someone's obviously upset her, or someone's obviously made her very, very angry. It comes on one things. And that's the thing with London. Like I keep saying to people time and time again, when I go on holiday, I go abroad and I say to someone, I'm from London. They're like, oh, it's beautiful London. I said, no. Yeah, it's all razzmatazz and all that kind of stuff, and all history and Buckingham Palace and all that kind of bollocks. People are cunts in London. People are cunts. That's what I have to say about London. People are cunts because we just got we just don't business, and we don't give a fuck. We just say what we got to say.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, my girl's not from London, so whenever she comes to London, she has this country like innocence, like because she lives like in Hertfordshire.
Oh, yeah.
So in Hertfordshire, they're a little bit friendlier. They're a little bit. They talk to each other and shit. And it's so weird because it's like when she's on the underground, she talks to people on the tube. I'm like, why are you talking? Why are you talking to this guy? Like, this kind of weird behavior. She's like, oh, I'm country. I'm like, Hertfordshire ain't that country. Surely you're only just above London. What is this? And she says she's like explaining to me the innocence of, living in the country. And oh my gosh, I tune out half the time because I'm just like, all right, whatever. It's for me, being a Londoner, and I don't know if you find this, we're all on our guard.
Yeah.
So even things like talking to what may be a very nice person, you think negatively first. You think, no, why are you talking to a stranger? Like,
Right.
you never know who that could be. You never know if you drop them a certain amount of information, you never know what they could do with it. And
Yeah.
I'm a pessimist at heart, because I
No.
always think to myself, who are you? What are you going to do with that information that you've just got?
Yep, that's right.
Do you know what I mean? That kind of thing.
Yeah.
I think it comes from years of being an Arsenal fan, to
No,
be honest.
no. Thing I keep saying to people, and you hit the nail right on the head, because I remember going to Florida, but 5-6 years ago, I went with the missus, and our hotel was right opposite one of those 7-Elevens or those supermarkets. It's a 24-hour thing, you know. And she wanted some peanuts. She wanted, just something to snack on, and I wanted to get some water because they sell them in gallons out there, innit? So I thought, fuck it, let me just get a gallon of water, whatever. So as I've crossed the road, there was 4 blokes coming towards me. They were locals, and I'm thinking, shit. Now I'm in London mode now, because obviously when you're in London in the evening, right, and you're wearing a hoodie, I'm putting that hood up and I'm keeping my head down. If there's 4 people coming towards me, I'm gonna either cross the road. I ain't gonna approach them. You get me? But the thing is, I already
100%
crossed the road. I'm like, so what's the point? Because I needed to cross the road to get to the fucking supermarket anyway. So I'm not gonna cross the road to go back across the road. That make no fucking sense. I thought, fuck it, face it head on.
Yeah.
Like, if I'm gonna get stabbed or whatever, it's gonna happen. Do you know what I mean? So here's me walking to the shop. I've got my hood put up, and as I'm walking past, one of the guys goes, "Oh, hey man, how you doing?" And I was like, "Yeah, safe." I just walked off, and then he goes, "Okay."
What?
Do you know what I mean? And for a split second, I was like, "Fucking, who are these guys?" And then I felt bad, because this guy legitimately wanted to say, not have a conversation, but at least just say hello, how you doing, whatever, because that's what they do in some parts of America. They're actually nice people.
Yeah.
That wouldn't happen in London. That would never happen.
Yeah, no. If it happens in London, you're trying to get... it's meant... It's going to be a setup. If it happens in London, it's a setup.
Absolutely.
If it happens in America, it's just a Tuesday.
Exactly. Because I could never understand. I could never understand how friendly they are out there. It's like, again, I went to New York and I went in the lift again with the missus, and this guy was holding the door, and he was saying please and thank you to other people that are holding doors open and this and that. I'm like, what is this? They say please and thank you out in America, and we don't even acknowledge those words. We don't even think those words exist. So if I was to go to like a Costa Coffee or a Starbucks, I'll make it my thing to actually greet someone and that's working there and say please and thank you and whatever. Even the missus says, "Why'd you?" Because that's it's politeness gets you far, bruv. Like, and they don't cost anything either.
Have you been to? I mean, I know you told me about that one experience, but have you been to America more than once?
I've been to New York once. I've been to Florida twice. No, 3 times. 3 times, yeah.
How is Florida? Is it as crappy as everyone makes out it is?
You know what? We went for Orlando Studios and the Universal Studios in Orlando and Disney and all that. So it was predominantly touristy anyway. So I couldn't tell you if it's not like Florida Man, that Twitter account where you see all a man fucks a crocodile who so happens to be smoking a spliff or something. Like, I've never seen that with my own eyes, so I can't tell you. But true say, like the same thing happens with all these other places throughout the world. I mean, I'm digressing a bit, but went to Amsterdam a while back, and I got chatting to a couple of local boys, and they were students out there anyway. So they were from the Netherlands, they were local, and they're saying, yeah, man, we came to the UK a few years because they sort of spoke with American accents because they went to an academy, and it's one of those things, right? It's like you listen to Tommy End in NXT, he's got an American accent. Not that he's lived in America all this time.
Yeah, true.
So so it was talking to me. It's like, oh yeah, I came to the UK a while ago. I stayed in London. I said, oh yeah. It goes, yeah, London is a really nice place. People are so polite. I was like, are you sure you stayed in London, bruv? Like, people are so polite. And he goes, and this is the thing. He looks at me and goes, yeah, man, I stayed in a place called Brixton.
Brixton.
Yeah.
Blimey.
Yeah. Now, bearing in mind that this wasn't what it was like we developed. Like, so it's not as if there was any posh people there. Like,
yeah, this is ghetto Brixton. Like that's nice. Yeah. Okay.
So this thing that I don't know. But then he turned around, he flipped the script, and he goes, "Hey, you guys are so weird." I'm like, "Why?" He goes, "You guys eat beans on toast. What the fuck is that shit?" He goes, "I said, not everyone eats beans on toast in London, mate. Come on now." It's like, does everyone in Amsterdam smoke weed? Don't do mushrooms? Go to sex
But
shops,
this is the
like,
thing. Don't get me wrong, and if there are any Americans listening to this, I love you all. Don't get me wrong. But when I went to Vegas like 5 years ago, and we were stopped by one guy who was I don't know, basically touting for something, and he went, "Where are you guys from?" Australia is usually the first guess for some weird reason. Like, no, not from Australia, from England. He goes, England? There are black people in England? Yeah, of course there are black people in England. What are you talking about? Why would there not be black people in England? This is crazy. And that was around the time where the riots just happened in Tottenham. It was the same year, actually.
Damn. Okay.
So I remember when we were playing poker with like a bunch of people. So me and two of my boys went. And we were all at the poker table. And suddenly this conversation broke out about England because we were at the table. And they talked about, "Oh yeah, what's going on in England? Like, what is all that about?" It's like, what, do riots never happen in America? Because I know that is BS. Talking about it just happens, isn't it? Yeah. Something happens and then it causes riots. That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was crazy. They are very fascinated by England as a whole. Not everybody, but most Americans, I would say, particularly when they're talking to someone English.
Yeah. See, the thing is, for us, something like that, the London riots, that made the national headlines. Whereas if a riot happened in America, it'd be just probably relevant to that actual state and maybe CNN Europe or something. You know. Unless
but especially these days.
Yeah. I mean, unless it's
these days it's literally these days they have a riot every week, so it's just part of normal society now. It's kind of, it's a shame. It's a shame with America because I can't lie, as someone who is black, you know, it does make you think twice about going over there for the simple reason that, you know, there is so much tension between the races there that you almost don't want to get caught up by it. It's like, I wish I could have a English fans and say, "Listen, I ain't involved. I ain't on anyone's side here. Just minding my own business. Just a tourist." But it's a shame because whether you're a fan of the president or you're not, you have to argue that it does cause tensions over there. And it does make you think twice about it. Like, I want to go Vegas sometime next year, but it's one of those ones where I'm thinking to myself, all right, I need to really be mentally prepared for this. Speaking of Amsterdam, I actually recently went over there quite recently, and that was a really enjoyable time. Very enjoyable. Although the bike riders, no, not for that. But I will say this: bike riders over there, forget the cars. The bike riders are the danger. Like, every time I was crossing the road, it was the cyclists I was watching out for. Forget the damn cars. Where are the cyclists coming from? They are lethal, and in some of those bikes, they have no brakes.
Yeah, that's right.
so if you get caught up with one of those cyclists, that is your business, basically.
Rob, don't forget the metro system, innit? You got the metro system.
Oh yeah.
So it's all above ground, isn't it? So instead of having cars, they've got that metro system. So you got to keep looking left, right, up, down. Do this fucking big.
Yeah, so they've got loads of trams. Yeah, loads of. There's not even that many cars considering it's a city, but it's more cyclists, trams, and then if you walk in the quote unquote right direction for long enough, all of a sudden a sex shop will pop up. You're like, where the hell did this come from?
Yeah.
I was with my girlfriend of all things, right? And she went, "Look to your right." And I was like, "What's on my right?" She said, "Look to your right." And there was just this big woman in a bra and like her suspenders. I was like, "Where the fuck?" I didn't even know we were in the red light district. She said, "Yeah, apparently we're here."
Yeah, yeah.
I just started cracking up. Like, okay,
But
wow.
the red light district during the day is the polar opposite of what it looks like at night.
Oh yes. See, I experienced that. I experienced both because my gal said, "Trust me, come back here at night." And I said, "Well, what's the difference?" She said, "Trust me, come
You'll
back
see.
here at night." So I thought, "Fuck." I thought, okay, well, how bad could it be? Was my exact line. So I came back, and if you can imagine, for anyone who's not been to the red light district, listen to this. Picture Leicester Square, except more RAM in a smaller space with loads of women in naked in windows.
Yeah,
It's the craziest thing, and people just walking past like it's normal.
yeah, yeah.
It's honestly it's the most surreal sight ever.
Put it this way: how many times have you been to Dam?
That was the first time.
That's the
First
first.
time I've been.
But did you actually go into
Yeah.
one of those red light buildings with the females in the windows?
So I didn't go into the because I was with my girl. So my girl kept encouraging me to talk to one of them, which was really weird. But no, we went into a few like sex museums,
Mm.
and there were like a few sex cinemas that were trying to get us both in there. And we were like, no, it looks a bit dodgy.
Yeah.
But the amount of people that we saw stopping at these windows again, like it's nothing. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm sure people listening to this. This is the Bloke Show, so let's just be real here. I'm sure people listening to this know where a couple of hookers are, a couple of massage parlors are. Where they're based in England.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little bit more sordid. It's a little bit more discreet. There is no such word as discreet. It's all very open. People, and you know what? In a way, I love that attitude. I love the I don't give zero fucks attitude of Amsterdam, and I admire the city for it. It's expensive, but it's a nice
Mm-hmm.
city. I really do like it.
Yeah, yeah. See, the thing is, what I like most about Amsterdam is the people, because they're so
Yeah.
they're so open-minded and they're so laid back about everything. They know, obviously, a lot of people go to Amsterdam for 2 or 3 things, right? It's going to be the drugs, it's going
Oh
to be
yeah.
women, or it's going to be for Anne Frank's museum, or even for the sites, because it is a beautiful city. It's got the canal.
100%. It really
It is.
is.
So let's be real about it. But a lot of people just go for the fucking weed and the women. But they're so open-minded about things. I remember I went back in, what year was it? 2000. I want to say 2006. It was United. It was for the Amsterdam tournament. United played. I think we played. Who did we play the first? We played Porto in the first game on the Saturday, and then Ajax on the Sunday. And I went there with a mate of mine, and it was the most incredible 2 days of my life, because it was nothing but alcohol and drugs. That's it. And the stories that we could tell. Put it this way, even the room that we stayed in, right, you could tell was designed for people to be stoned, right? And by that I mean, if you imagine, you're lying down on the bed, and then you look at the wall directly in front of you. You've just got a space for a TV, which they had, and then the design was like a mahogany zebra print. So it was like black and mahogany, but like the print like you'd see on like a, I don't know, a wallpaper, like zebra shaped zebra patterned wallpaper, right? It was like a mahogany kind of color, but when you looked at it, especially on mushrooms, it was constantly waving like that. And then what you do, you look to the end of the room, or at the end of the wall, and then you'd be like, oh, let me start again. And so you're constantly following this fucking trail. And then even the emergency exit, what's it called? They had like a little map where the emergency exits are, right? And like the green outline would be the shape of the hall, so to speak, and then the red would be where the exits are. The yellow would be the door numbers. It was just the way that it was mapped, that you could tell it was for people to be stoned and just to stare about and just let their minds wander. It was phenomenal. It was absolutely brilliant. And wherever you go, right? If you're high or you're stoned and you want to come down, if you go to like a KFC or if you go to any supermarket, they will know exactly what to give you to give you that come down, or to kind of like wean it off you. So orange juice or just a whole load of sugar. That's effectively what helped you get off mushrooms. And it worked.
Yeah.
It worked a fucking treat. So these people know, obviously, the locals know what you're going there for. So they will give you advice if need be. And the remarkable thing is that I noticed this on the Sunday morning. Me and my mate went to go have breakfast. And on the red light district, we walked past it. And the locals that lived there, they actually got their mops, their buckets out, disinfectant, everything to do the fucking pavement. The pavement.
Oh, wow.
Like,
see, that would never happen in London.
No, geezer. How many times have you been walking, like, say, for example, to the station, you see one guy just spit on the floor or drop their chewing gum?
I was going to say, in London, they have a hard enough time cleaning up their own place, never mind outside. Wow.
And you know what? Speaking of fucking pavement, right, I tweeted this the other day, right? I was in Southgate, and I saw this guy. Well, was two guys talking, right? And one of them had his child with him. He must have been no older than 2, right? And the kid had just started walking, so he's walking, then he's stumbling, he's walking, he's stumbling, he's getting back up, yada yada yada. But each time he's falling on the floor, right? And his hands are touching the floor. He's putting his face on the floor. He's licking the pavement, and I'm like, geezer, like your kid is like. Listen, I've been to Southgate Station enough times, and I remember when I used to go to Eros back in the day, and we used to end up at Southgate Kebabs, right? And between Southgate Kebabs and the one-way bit on Southgate, there's like a little, not a tunnel, but it was like a little alleyway bit, and people used to urinate there and all that kind of shit. And the kid is falling literally right there. I'm thinking, how much shit has been on that floor, and you're letting your kid roll about like he's some kind of little piggy, right, in mud. And he's just looking at the kid like laughing. I'm thinking, are you serious? What if your kid gets seriously ill, man? That's disgusting. That's fucking sick.
Yeah, I used to live in Southgate, so I can definitely believe people would do that. But gosh, Eros, that takes me back.
Yeah, Eros, bruv. You used to go there?
I used to love that nightclub, man.
Yeah.
Oh, the amount of girls I used to at least try and strike out with.
What nights did you go?
Friday nights were mainly my nights. People keep telling me that Wednesdays and Thursdays are really good. But trying to get my, I'll be honest, so around that sort of time, this is when those times when you used to try and sneak into clubs, before, when you were like 16, 17, 18. Now, I didn't move out of my parents' house until I was 19 when I was going to uni. So I could not be asked to do an argument from my mum as to why I'm going out on a Thursday night or something like that. So I thought, all right, let's just stick to Friday nights. Friday nights were cool, but it went from, I used to like going on like hip hop nights or garage nights. I used to get like a garage set. Yep. Then once that finished, it was more jungle. I don't know about you, I can't stand jungle. I cannot stand jungle. So whenever that used to come on, it used to just kill my vibe. And trying to chat up a girl who's on the dance floor enjoying jungle when you don't like it is not the easiest task in the world. But that club, bro, just for the sheer size of it, I loved that place. I really did. Yeah. It's a shame that there was just always trouble there. It was too much trouble there.
Yeah, but the thing is, what year did you start going? Because I started going when I was like 18, so that's like 97, 98. So that's a long time ago, man.
So you're a bit older than me, so
a bit older.
Typically.
Yeah, but you're still.
Pull out the speaker. Sorry about that.
How old?
So I'm 32.
32.
So
4 or 5 years difference between us.
So when I was 18, it was 2003. So we're talking about probably, I would say,
that was the last stage.
Early 2000s.
Eros closed a year later, man.
So I didn't go for very long. So it was maybe about a year. And like you said, then it closed. Just too many people kept getting shot. And in fact, I pretty much remember it was like the third occasion that somebody got shot within the space of 6 months, where I think the police just said, "Yeah, enough is enough. We're shutting this place down."
Yeah.
And I can't blame them because they did give that place a pass a few times.
Oh, mate, listen, let me tell you something. Right, I remember Eros. I mean, it was seminal for me. Do you know what I mean? That's the first place I really started raving at, you know, because it was local. It was easy to get to. I could walk home if I had to. I know it was like 4 or 5 miles from where I used to live, but when you're pissed at 3 o'clock in the morning, you don't care. Do you know what I mean? And I said a lot of people that were there were people that I grew up with, or people that I knew from college or school or whatnot. So it was effectively like a meeting place. But I'll never forget they had Sweet Harmonies on a Sunday every month, and you had EZ, you had Norris the Boss Windross, you had MC Kai, you had all the garage MCs, Creed, everyone. It was just mad. And you used to get your tickets from a record shop in Southgate. I forget what it's called now, actually, or what it was called. I have to jog my memory now, but there was a record shop in Southgate, and that's where you got your tickets from. So we'd go there like the day after it was announced, and we just head there and buy 6 or 7 tickets and say, right, we're going to do this. And it was wicked, man. I think Monday nights was was 70s night, music wise. So you turn up and then you have like people over 30, over 40. And when you're like 18, 19, you're laughing at these people. It's like, this is the kind of music you guys used to listen to. But now I'm thinking about it. My kid's free. And in 10 years' time, she'll be taking the piss out of what I've been listening to now. Do you know what I mean? But no, it was wicked. But the thing is, with Eros, things changed when they changed the securities there. Because, as I said, I was going there from 97 to 2004. So that's a good, what, 7 years? 7 years?
Yeah.
And they changed their security in 2002. And after they changed their security, everything went to pot. They were letting anyone in. They were kicking off with random people. I remember Choice FM did a few nights there, and they had a lot of shitheads going down there as well. From obviously listened to Choice. One security guard got shot because he didn't let a guy in because the guy didn't have shoes. So the guy left and came back with a gun. But the real reason they shut down Eros, and I can tell you this for a fact because I know one of the people who this happened to. The reason why Eros got shut down is because there was a fight between 4 girls, and 2 of the girls got taken into separate rooms and got beaten up by male security guards. The police got involved.
Okay.
Yeah, the police got involved, and one of the girls who got beaten up, her dad is a big guy in London. Like, he's got clubs all over the place. He's got one in Essex, and I'm not going to mention the name, but he's a big deal. And he went down with his sons, and they kicked off big time, to the point where the security guards got together later on, and they tried to basically attack him at one of his clubs, and that didn't come over because all of his security guards were just like on it. So this raged on for ages, but it went to court and everything. So yeah, the reason why it shut down is because, yeah, obviously it was like their final strike or whatever, but 2 security guards, or should I say 4 security guards, beating up 2 innocent women. Okay, fair enough, the women were fighting, but they weren't aggressive towards the security guards. They were just sat in a room. You know what I mean? And then they came in and just beat them up for the fuck of it. So yeah, that's why it shut down. Which is a shame because now it's a fucking furniture shop.
Yeah, I don't get me wrong. It's a nice furniture shop, but it was a better club.
Man. Bro, they had the chicken shop in the fucking club. They had the chicken shop.
Yeah, it had everything. It was massive. In fact, let's just say my friend got more than a bit lucky there a few times. Yeah, that was how big that club was.
Of course, you could do anything in certain places if
you could literally do anything.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
oh my gosh.
And the thing is, it was easy because I think a bottle of wine was like 12 quid, 11 quid for a bottle of wine, and you're looking like a litre bottle, so you're sorted. You're sorted for most of the night anyway.
Yep.
Sorted.
How much you reckon a bottle of wine is now?
For nightclubs, brother, I ain't been clubbing for ages.
Yeah, no, same. That's what I'm asking you.
Bottle of wine, I'm guessing.
That's what I'm asking you.
Maybe 20, 25 quid. You're guessing.
Easy.
Easy, yeah. But it was mad. It was mad. We had so many good times here. But you Where are you originally from? I don't know your background. I know you're from North London. But where are your background from? You Nigerian?
I am.
You are indeed. Yeah. So both your
Yeah,
parents?
both my parents.
Both your parents.
So they were both born over there, lived in England for years. I was born here. I was actually specifically born in Wood Green,
Oh yeah.
and then grew up in Then
So you weren't born in North
when I
Mid?
was 4, yeah, I was born in North Mid,
You North Mid?
that
Yeah.
piece of crap hospital. Yeah, which is why I know a lot of people listening to this will be like, "Oh, that explains a hell of a lot." I know.
I was born there as well, mate. Don't worry about it. I was born there as well. Relax.
and then and then basically when I was 4, I moved to Hornsey. Grew up predominantly in Hornsey, and then moved out of my parents' house when I was like 19, and I ain't looked back since.
There you go.
So
There
yeah.
you go. Happy days, mate. Happy days. Well, I'll tell you what. I found a bit of news for you because I scour the internet for various sources of information as you do, and I figured that since we were doing a show tonight, I thought I might get some little things to talk about. Even though we've done pretty well actually, just chatting about life in general in like 40 odd minutes.
Yeah.
But you know the Metro newspaper, yeah. They've got their own website and they got this report, and I'm going to read it out. According to the Vendor Awards, I've never heard of them, but they're called, apparently they're the annual street food competition, which determines who is crowned the best street food vendor in NYC. There's a company called DF Nigerian, is the greatest food truck operating in the Big Apple. See, it was founded by a Nigerian couple, yeah, and the truck's been there for 2 years. Apparently, it started with Godshow, which is the name of one of the founders. He was selling meals out the back of his car outside the Nigerian embassy in the middle of Manhattan. So yeah, they've been voted the best what's it called, food truck operating in America, well, in New York, sorry. So yeah, jollof rice and all that.
Oh no! Listen, I'm gutted actually because I've been to New York a couple of times, and wish I knew about something like that because I would have immediately gone over there and been like, "Yep, I need me some of that. Let me try this thing."
Yeah.
It's always nice to hear.
Yeah, I mean, it's outside the Nigerian embassy, so I don't know if you go to New York just to see the Nigerian embassy. I don't.
This is the thing. Maybe if I go with my mum, who has a Nigerian passport as well as a British one, but I don't really have any need to go there. So, but yeah, I mean that is interesting. Wow, I never knew that before.
So, what kind of food do you think they sell?
See, now I'm gonna have that. I'm gonna have that as a pride of honor because my mates, as you can imagine, love taking the mick out of the fact that I'm Nigerian.
There you go.
And because they're all big foodies, I can say, listen, we run New York. We run New York. Say something.
Sorted, absolutely sorted. Listen, what kind of delicacies do you have out there, man? Because I know of jollof rice, but I don't know. You use ginger a lot, don't you?
Yeah, so we do. We use ginger a lot. I'll tell you a little story actually. When I last went to Nigeria, I know this is really bad for any potential Nigerians listening to it. I am really bad. I haven't been to Nigeria since I was 15. Need to go back soon actually. And but the last time I went out there, they have this kind of ritual that, you know, to be a man, quote unquote, you need to be able to quite literally bring home some food. So one of the little warm-up tests they have for you is to be able to, you know, kill a chicken, which is the easiest thing in the world because they are the most feeble, weak-minded animals. So if any vegetarians listen to this ain't going to be a nice story. So you might want to skip on a little bit. But it's pretty easy. You just tie their legs up. I think you tie their legs up, have their neck, wham, straight down the line, let it bleed out, and you're good to go. That's pretty much it. I thought, okay, well, that's easy. The hard part was the goat. Now, bear in mind, people, I'm 15, so I'm still not all the way a brave man yet, right? So I was looking at this goat galloping about, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm meant to slaughter this. Right. Okay. So me and a couple of uncles managed to get this goat, tie it up. This animal kicks out violently, and it makes the loudest pitching scream you will ever hear. So you manage to like grab its mouth, you tie its mouth um, closed, you tie its legs out. You think to yourself, all right, cool. This should be, in theory, as easy as the chicken. What they never tell you, and specifically, no one ever told me this, was as you start to like slit the throat of this goat, that same loud pitch sound that you thought was bad before gets so much worse as you cut in. And I was like trying to like just cut through this thing because this thing was suffering, right? And they typically gave me something that wasn't sharp enough. And all I heard was this loud pitching sound. And I thought, oh my gosh, what is going on? Trust this crap to happen to me. So I'm trying to desperately kill this thing. Oh my god, I was supposed to be eating this thing in a few hours. So anyway, managed to finally kill this thing. I ain't gonna lie, I was so put off by the sounds coming out of this animal. It put me right off eating it. I was like, no, I'm good. I'm good. I would literally eat anything else other than that goat. I am good.
So what did they cook the goat with then?
So they cook the goats with, oh man, you name it. So they use a lot of palm oil. They use a lot of, so like jollof rice is something typically that goes with goats. So the goat will be mixed in a certain amount of stew. So we have a stew called a goosey soup, which is very typical that goes with goat. The goosey soup is actually one of my favorite Nigerian soups, where sometimes people cook it with okra. I don't like a goosey soup with okra, but you can cook it with all types of vegetables. You can cook it with something called crayfish. I'm not a big seafood person, so my mum automatically knows I don't like things like crayfish in it. We also have a delicacy called spider's legs, which sounds like the weirdest thing. It's not literally spider's legs. Why they call it spider's legs? Because it's basically just like dark, stick-like things that look like spider's legs. Pretty nice, but very, very spicy. Very, very spicy. Gosh, you name it. I mean, we have a lot out there. What I would say is that, and a lot of this tends to be the way for a lot of black people's foods. It tends to be really spicy. So if you're gonna have it, and if you're thinking to yourself, "Oh, let me try some Nigerian delicacies out there," be prepared. It will be spicy. We even have something. We even have like Nigerian like kebabs out there. So we do have like things that literally are on shishes.
Okay.
And they have goat. Goat tends to be a popular meat of choice out there. But goat, we have chicken. That tends to go on a lot of veg as well. Those are really not honestly. But goat, beef, lamb. That tends to be a big food of choice out there. But yeah. Moi moi is another thing which I can't stand, but I suppose if you like that type of thing, without trying to put anyone off, it basically looks like frozen vomit. And for that reason, I personally can't eat it. I don't like the taste of it either.
What's it made from?
It's made from. I can't even remember. I think it's made from yam and a few other elements, but it's orange. Okay. So it's usually orangey yellow, and it tends to be not hard, but pretty. I don't know. It's not very nice. Just forget it. Anyone listen to this, you don't want it. Forget it. Pounded yam is also a massive delicacy over there. So pounded yam, the best way I could describe it is if anyone knows what semolina is.
Yeah.
It's basically soft potato that you can roll up in your hand and use to eat stew with.
Mm-hmm.
So it's basically a carbohydrate for you for any gym bot out there. So it's not a carb friendly dish, but it's beautiful.
Mm.
Usually,
That's
typically, you have pounded yam with a goosey soup. Oh, I ain't had that in years. I need to go to my mum and say, "Can you cook me this now?" Well, I love that stuff.
brilliant.
One of my
And
favorite food.
do you know what? I actually haven't seen any Nigerian like takeaway shops in London. Like, I've seen a lot of West Indian ones, and I've seen a lot of Greeks, a lot of Chinese, but there's a big Nigerian community in London. But I rarely see anything African related in any part of London, really. Guess it must be depends where you go.
You are right. Here's the funny thing. I've only ever been to a Nigerian restaurant once, and that was in Dalston. But they are there.
Okay.
There doesn't seem to be a lot in North London. It tends to be in South London and East London that it tends to be in. I just like my mum's homemade cooking, which is why I don't tend to go to any kind of Nigerian restaurants. But yeah, they do exist. But you're right. They're not nearly as popular as you would think they would be. Like, for example, in North London alone, I don't notice that there's a big Indonesian community. Not particularly, but there's like just on Turnpike Lane stroke Haringey, there's about 8 Indonesian restaurants.
Yeah.
And you think to yourself, well, so you couldn't fit one Nigerian restaurant on any of these roads. What's going on?
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's London for you, I guess.
Yeah.
I think you could find anything if you look for long enough. I still don't think there's a lot of Caribbean restaurants, considering the Caribbean community that's in North London, man.
Yeah.
But I only know of, off the top of my head, 3 Caribbean restaurants in North London.
Yeah.
And one of them is right next to Wood Green Station. So
yeah, that's right. That's right. I can think of one
there you
in
go.
Northumberland Park, which
Yeah, I know that one.
Yeah. And there's also one. Yeah, there's the one in Wood Green. There's one in Northumberland. There's one by the Great Cambridge Roundabout. Caribbean,
That's the other one.
Caribbean cuisine.
That's the other one.
But is that
Yeah.
the one that where the roof got set on fire? Or was it next door to it? I can't remember. That's
Yeah.
yeah.
I think so. I think so. Yeah.
Free. Yeah. So for really free. But then because the thing is, because obviously I'm of Cypriot heritage and Greek background, I notice where the Greek restaurants are. It's just one of those things. And do you know what? This sounds really fucked, but for me, I'm thinking, my mum cooks Greek food. Why would I want to go to a Greek restaurant when someone else is going to make it? Because at the end of the day, you're just going to be comparing what you're used to with what they've made. So whenever I hear mates going, "Oh, let's go to this," I'd rather go to, I don't know, a Turkish restaurant or an Indian restaurant, or a Chinese restaurant. At least, you know, it's nothing I can compare to. It's not like my mum will make, you know, I don't know, wonton soup, and I'll be like, "Oh, well, my mum doesn't make it," because my mum isn't Chinese, so there's nothing, you know, authentic about it. Whereas when she's making her own food or whatever, I'm not going to go to a Greek restaurant, pay through the nose for something that I'm probably not going to enjoy because I'm too busy comparing it to what I'm already used to. That's what I don't understand. Like my mates that go to Greek restaurants, that Greek mates. You know what I mean? So I don't know.
Yeah, I agree with you, and that's a lot of the reason that I didn't go to a Nigerian restaurant for so long, because, like you just said, I know I'm going to be comparing it for the entire time. So I'm going to be like, well, this ain't as good as my mum's, or my mum doesn't cook it that way, or my mum cooks it a bit more. I love spicy food. So if something is bland, I feel like something is bland. So it needs to really capture me, is what I'm basically saying. And I prefer not to make those kind of comparisons. And like you say, I'd rather just go to a Turkish restaurant or go to an Indian restaurant or a Thai restaurant, something that where I have no point of reference, if you like, to a childhood where I value, you know, my mum's cooking as highly as I do. So,
yeah, I mean. But speaking of North London, man, and you mentioned it earlier on in the show. You mentioned the London riots. 6 years ago. What do you remember about that?
Oh, so ago, I remember working in an office in Clerkenwell for a business that, ironically enough, was closed and went into administration. But I remember it being a really kind of intimidating time. It didn't really occur to me what was happening until it was happening. So yeah, we had the riots and we had idiots going on Twitter advertising about the fact that they've stolen trainers and this, that, and the other. And you found that kind of stupidity hilarious, but it was the days after the initial riot that was scary, especially going through Wood Green.
Oh yeah,
that was real scary. So at the time, I was living in Frisbee Park.
Yeah.
Which these days, Frisbee Park, blimey, gosh, that area is falling apart. I don't know what's going on. But
loads of mafia.
At the time, Frisbee Park.
Loads. Of...
oh, I know.
I'm not even joking.
I know.
I'm not even joking. Like the amount of money
listen,
going on down there.
That area has gone. It's gone. But at the time, it wasn't too bad. And but whenever I used to visit my mum, and obviously during that time, I wanted to make sure she was all right, because the only stories you were hearing about were people breaking into people's houses. It was martial law out here, basically. And so I wanted to make sure she was all right. But in order to, to be honest, on hindsight, I don't know why I went through Wood Green, but I lived on the side of Frisbee Park, which was closer to Haringey. So I needed to go from Hornsey through Turnpike Lane to go through Haringey. Now, for anyone who lives in North London, Turnpike Lane normally has at least one gang hanging around somewhere. Everyone knows this. You approach Turnpike Lane cautiously,
usually by the cab office.
During this period, usually by the cab office or by Costa.
Yeah.
At this time,
hang on, let me stop you right there. Hold that thought. Can you imagine? Gangsters with wannabe gangsters with knives and shanks. They're standing outside Costa Coffee. That's as middle class gangsters as you can. They're standing there with a latte and a shank.
Oh yeah, but around this period of time, there were like 4, 5 groups of gangsters that clearly didn't know each other, but just thought, fuck it, we will occupy the space around Costa. So going through there was like, it just be careful type of thing. Like, you approach this place at your own risk. So I remember that, and I remember that feeling. And we were constantly let off. We were asked to leave work early because places in Angel of all places, were being looted. And Angel was very close to Clerkenwell, where I worked. So we were asked to go home early. People were genuinely terrified. It was a really tense time. And I remember thinking at the time that it was the first time I really felt like the government had zero control over the situation that was happening in North London. And North London is, a lot of areas in North London, you know this as well, a lot of areas in North London are ghetto, but generally it's always somewhat under control. Under control. But I remember for that week, it legitimately was not under control. It was a dangerous time. Like, go out in pairs. I don't care if your guys go out in pairs. That was the type of attitude people had. But it was an intriguing time for sure. And it makes you think, because the last time Tottenham riots happened, it was the year that I was born. Apparently, it was just before I was born. My mum was pregnant with me when that cop's head got chopped off, and she was like, no, 2011 was a lot worse. Even though the cop got killed, I guess people felt like they took one of theirs for one of the people that died in the 1985 one. Whereas
the Water Farm one, you mean?
In the 2000, whereas in the 2011 one, they didn't feel like they ever had any retribution. So because of it, there was so much tension. It was so dangerous. Anything could have potentially happened.
Yeah, yeah. The thing is with that, with the London riots, it was. Do you know what? As this is going to sound fucked, but it was impressive the way they happened because, and I'm saying this in a way that a lot of people are thinking, well, how can that be impressive? It's, you know, what they did was horrible. It was, you know, unforgivable. Yeah, I agree, but think of it, strength in numbers, and these are kids. The majority
Yeah,
of them were kids that were doing this. We're talking about teenagers, right? So they use BBM, they use Twitter, any form of social media they could to arrange this. Can you imagine, right? If, you know, something like this happened now, right? The government could be overthrown like that. It would be so easy because do you remember what it was like back then, right? With the riots, right? Police weren't doing anything. They were just taking a stand. They were standing back and saying, "All right, do what you got to do. Do your looting, whatever," you know, because it was all insurance
yeah,
jobs and whatnot, you know. Um,
true, true.
I was, and the things I was sitting there wondering, like, why don't they get out like the water cannons? Why don't they do this? Why don't they do that? But because don't forget, it wasn't just in London. It was in Birmingham. It was in Liverpool. It was in Manchester, Nottingham. I think it happened in Bristol as well, if I remember rightly. So there was
Yeah,
just like riots all throughout the UK, and it all stemmed from the death of Mark
from
Dugan.
Tottenham.
Yeah, from
Yeah,
Tottenham, because it was actually a peaceful protest at the beginning, wasn't it? Because I remember that outside the police station,
yeah.
and it was cool. And obviously people were referencing Broadwater Farm and this and that, yada yada yada. But you know, it was way like it got way out of hand.
It
It got way out of hand.
it did get out of hand. Like you say, it spread so quickly throughout the country. I mean, flip me. When I think it was day 3, suddenly something broke out in Hackney.
Yeah,
Hackney of all places. Hackney hate Tottenham. So
yeah,
I had no idea
yeah,
what it had to do with Hackney. But suddenly Hackney, they were looting and buses were not going. No, they locked off Hackney completely because no
yeah.
buses were going to Hackney. It was crazy. It was crazy. I remember that. It was, and then it happened in Manchester. It happened in Birmingham. Happened in Bristol. I didn't even know Bristol cared like that. I didn't even know Bristol had people like that.
No,
That was
it
the
was
first time
definitely,
I learned that Bristol could even be mildly ghetto.
mate. It was obviously a blatant. It was just an excuse to loot. It was just an excuse to cause havoc. I mean, we've seen the pictures of the double-decker bus that was being burnt in Tottenham. I think they set fire to 3, was it 4 buses they did. They vandalized everything. It was mad. I think
Yeah,
one guy was beaten to death because he tried to put out a fire, and just some yobs
yeah,
just beat him to death. You know, I remember football games were postponed. You know, loads of cancellations on Transport for London. It was a fucking mess, man. It was a logistical nightmare. But again, the reason why I say it was impressive is because it's just the strength in numbers. It's just that they had a common goal and they were going to achieve it, whether the police got involved or I don't know, the army got involved. But the thing is, it didn't come to that though, did it? There weren't more bobbies on the beat. They just let them get on with it. If there was any other country like Russia or America, they'd have got the fucking army in. They'd be like, right, we're going to sort this out once and for all. But again, it's
but but yeah, it was so weird though. Like, do you remember that it was during because it was during the summer, and it seemed like because all the important people supposedly were on holiday,
yeah,
it was
yeah,
the most stupidest thing. All the
yeah,
important people were on holiday, so because of it, like you say, they just let them get on with it
yeah, yeah,
until I think enough. There was so much of an outcry by I think day 3 and day 4. The day 5, they decided, oh, maybe we should actually like do something about this. So they suddenly like made sure like they put riot police out in most of these key areas, and
yeah,
eventually they got control of the situation.
yeah.
But yeah, like you say, it was really weird. Like nothing initially was being done. People were just being left to get on with it because
Yeah.
everyone was on holiday. It was the most surreal situation.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's interesting.
It was mad because I remember when it happened because they were talking about it possibly jeopardizing the 2012 Olympics, and they were saying,
Yeah,
"Oh, if that could happen now, what could happen next?" Yada yada yada.
yeah, yeah.
And what happened a year later with the Olympics? Nothing happened. It's almost as if
Yeah,
it's forgotten, as if it didn't even exist. It didn't happen, the
yeah,
riots. You know, even to this day, I don't remember. I mean, we're talking about it now because we can remember it, but I rarely hear people talking about it. People talk about 9/11, people talk about this and that, but the London riots, obviously, is not on the same scale as 9/11. Don't get me wrong, but people in the UK are most likely to talk about 9/11 and can tell you exactly where they were during 9/11 than where they
hmm
were in 2011 for the riots. It was incredible.
yeah.
Like I said,
Only North Londoners remember what happened during that
yeah,
time.
yeah,
Because if you lived in North London, you were legitimately. There would have been one day where you were legitimately worried about getting home, back home from work, getting to work, or what you were doing on a particular night that you could get through it safely.
yeah,
But like you say, outside of that, it's almost like it. I mean, there's been a wonderful PR job that's happened because, like you say, I think all they cared about at the time was the image that people had about London ahead of the Olympics, and a successful Olympics at that, largely. But I think that helped mask over the whole Mark Duggan situation.
yeah, yeah,
And also because there's still so many unanswered questions about what actually happened because there's so
yeah.
many people that
Uh-huh.
that that I do think some foul crap happened. I really do.
Of
There's
course.
just certain things that don't add
Add
up,
up.
but at the same time, there's been a masterful job done with the PR. People kind of almost it's sad to say that people almost now outside of the Duggan family, people almost don't care now. It's just past now.
Yeah, yeah. See, the thing is, living in North London, as you said, you're gonna know someone that knows someone that knows Duggan or the family or friends, and you will hear a different
100%.
story. You will hear a different
Yeah,
story.
hundred percent.
I'd say I've heard about four different versions of what happened, and three of the four put him innocent. Obviously, but you're gonna get a biased view and whatnot. But again, it happened so fast, and if he didn't have a weapon on him, even though they claim that he did, can you imagine if the truth gets out? Can you imagine if it happens? The truth comes out. Let's say he didn't have a weapon, or let's just say he didn't fire at the police, or let's just say he wasn't carrying anything on him, or drugs, or whatever. Can you imagine if that gets out? What it will cause, the carnage
Exactly.
that would ensue. They don't want that shit to happen.
Exactly.
They do not want that to happen.
It's there are certain things that are just too dangerous. If they ever came out, it'd just be too dangerous to
Yeah,
I say too dangerous to their image
yeah,
because then I mean, let's be real here. If some foul stuff really did happen and it caused all those riots off the back of what the police did,
mm,
you would question everyone, not just the police,
yeah,
the government. Flip it. The Queen would even feel heat for that.
yeah, yeah,
Even the Queen would feel heat for that.
yeah.
Be like, what on earth? What else are they covering up? You start to question everything. So it's almost as horrible as it sounds, because I can't stand the police, but as horrible as it sounds, you almost have to at this point cover it up for just the sake of society. Because if there was wrongdoing and it ever did come out, it would be riots times 20,
No, I agree.
times 20,
I agree.
easy.
I agree. Because you know what? I'm not condoning this. I'm not encouraging it, but eventually, people are going to start rioting at 10 Downing Street. Forget those gates. Those gates are going to get broken down somehow
Yeah, oh
because
yes.
there's only so much running the PM can do. We saw what happened with Grenfell, right?
Mm,
How she hid. I mean,
mm,
okay, Corbyn came out in
mm.
whole publicity stunt, shaking people's hands, holding babies, all that kind of stuff, and you kind of expect it leading up to the election and whatnot. But the way that Theresa May handled that was a fucking farce, man, utter farce, and it just shows how much of a disconnect she has between, you know, her sitting in her ivory tower, so to speak, and people that don't really have much, you know. Um, And again,
Yeah.
going back, the same with Duggan and Grenfell, a lot needs to be. There's a lot more questions and answers, if that makes sense. And they were talking the other day about how the number could be less than 80 dead. I think it's far more than that.
Oh,
But again, that's another story for another time. But I don't want to go on about like really sullen stuff. I've got a funny story for you actually. Let me bring it up on my screen, because this is something I was thinking about doing. Now, outside my house, I mean, I've got a drive, so I'm lucky I can park my car. I've only got one car. I can park my car on the drive, but it fits cars anyway, because it's side on, put them in correctly. It's fine. There's a car that's outside my drive though. It's not giving me any problems, not blocking me in, but it's been there for 3 weeks. So obviously they don't have tax disc anymore, so you can't really tell if it's got road tax or whatnot. So I need to find a way of seeing if it's meant to be legit. But there's a guy in Liverpool, right? What he did, he lives a couple miles away from the airport in Liverpool, which I believe is John Lennon Airport. And he got fed up with people parking outside his house to go to the airport, because they leave their cars for a couple of weeks there, and obviously they don't have to pay airport parking. So what he did, he works in Costco, and he bought a an industrial size cling film. So what he did, he got the cling film and he wrapped the car outside his house in cling film. He wrapped it in cling film, the whole car.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's what he did. He said that.
How much of that? How many rolls did he use for that?
Well, I don't know. It was an industrial. It's an industrial size one, so it's double the width of what we use normally. I don't know how much is in there. I mean, if it was 10 meters, 30 meters. I don't know. But I'll put the article on the Bloke Show page. He's wrapped the whole car, and this was his excuse for doing it. He claimed a man got out of the car with 2 suitcases and got in a taxi before it drove off. Right, so he's basically said, let's have a look. It says they were clearly leaving their car there and just getting in a taxi to the airport. Obviously, they just wanted some free parking. Next door have a couple of cars as well, so there isn't really room for other cars to park on the road. He complained he can no longer park his own car outside of his house because of this SCO. They said, I thought it was cheeky leaving the car there, so I thought I'd leave him a nice surprise for when they got back. So yeah, seeing your car wrapped in bubble in a cling film would be quite frustrating. But at the same time, if you've got something sharp like your keys, for example, you'd be able to chop through the first couple of layers and get in. So I don't really. I mean, it is funny looking at it and reading it, because it's something that I would love to do if I had time and money to spend on cling film.
I'm just wondering how long it took him to do all that.
Well, he's done a thorough job, to be fair. I mean, he's wrapped the whole car. Like, it's almost as if it's been in the back of a delivery truck, and he's got a pump. What's it called? One of those pump handle things, and taking it out. I don't know. You look at it; it looks brand new as well.
Okay.
Well, yeah, I'll put that link on the Bloke Show page.
I'll definitely have a look at that as soon as I get a chance to, for sure, because that does sound. It's one of them stories where I think you've got to view it to believe it.
Yeah, exactly. When I saw it, I was like, this is quite genius actually, because again, it's something that I would love to do to people, especially people that park outside my mum's drive, because she's got a drop curb and she's got it all legally done, but because she hasn't got a white line going across just below the pavement, people can park there legally, which is weird, because I thought, well, because you paid the council for a drop curb and you've built a driveway, surely that means no one can park outside your drive. But apparently, no, they can. You've got to have that white line sprayed there, which costs another £1,000. Fuckers, man. Honestly, they really know how to make money, this council. Yeah.
Are you a boxing person?
Do I box? If I'm doing cardio at the gym, yeah. Do I watch it religiously? No. Do I follow it? Yes. So
Did you watch the Mayweather Conor thing match?
Yeah, I watched that. Oh, and I watched the Canelo Golovkin fight as well. And
See, now I want to ask you about the Canelo GG one in a sec, but I thought you'd be way too much of a cynic to watch that Floyd Mayweather Conor McGregor one. Just I'd have thought, oh, if I ask Stella about that, he'll tell me how it's garbage. There's not even a contest. There's no way I'm gonna watch it. Da, da, da. I thought, oh, blimey,
do you know what? At first, when I first heard the announcement, the first thing I thought was this is going to be a train wreck. It's going to be like, and I said it on the last show I did. It's like, why do we, when we're driving and there's a car accident, why do we slow down to see what's going on? Why do we?
It's true. It's true.
It's human instinct. It's horrible because you see ambulances. You're like, oh, I don't want to see that. Like you're covering one of your eyes, and you're like, oh shit, let me look with the other. So, and that's how I approach this fight because the way I see it is that there was only going to be one winner. You're looking at a guy that hadn't lost a fight ever. 50 or 49-0 or whatever he was at the time, against a guy that, yeah, he's a UFC fighter, yeah, he's tough, but boxing is completely different to ultimate fighting. Now, I'm fortunate enough to say that I know Art Davey, who co-founded the UFC. I know him very well.
Oh wow, okay.
And he wrote a book called "Is This Legal?" Which was funny because the reason the way he got the title for the book was he approached Chuck Norris to be one of the commentators for the first UFC, and he told him the concept, and he just looked at him and goes, "What is this legal?" Kind of thing. Sounds like the name of the book. So yeah, the way that UFC was created is that Art Davey was, I believe, was he a boxer, like an amateur boxer, and he got in a fight with a guy that's a wrestler, and the wrestler beat the shit out of him. So he got that idea, was like, oh, let me just get different sports and different disciplines and put them in a competition and see what happens. And that's how it started. So from a personal standpoint, I haven't spoken to Art about this, actually, to be fair, which is interesting I'll be interested to find out what you say about it. But I was like, well, this is going to be a no contest because it's not UFC rules. Now, if you put Mayweather in an octagon, he wouldn't last a minute. McGregor would eat him.
No, not even a minute.
No, not even that. But you're talking about boxing. You could tell during the fight that McGregor was getting away with a lot of things that a normal boxer would have points deducted. Like I know he hit Mayweather on the top of the head and on the back of the head a couple of times.
A few times, yeah.
And he was holding him quite a lot, and it seemed like he got him in a headlock once as well. And you're thinking he's losing that discipline, but it was more fatigue than anything because round 4. He was already blowing out of his ass. And even though that he probably had the better in terms of making more punches and connecting and whatnot, there was only going to be one winner. And from the 6 onwards, it was like, forget it, man. He was dead on his knees. So
yeah, I mean Floyd basically gift wrapped him 4 rounds.
Yeah.
And then just thought, all right, let me start getting to work now. I see what I need to do. Round 5 was pretty even. And then like you say, from round 6 onwards, it was getting pretty hard to watch, especially I remember thinking, there was one particularly brutal round for Conor. I think it was round 8, and I thought, oh my gosh, he can't have another one like that. Yeah. Then round 9, he tried, but Floyd just kept catching him, and then round 10, it was almost inevitable. Ref stopped it at the perfect time. There's no point watching the man get even more hurt than he was getting. And fair play to Floyd, because I'll be honest, I didn't think he was going to knock him out. I thought it would be a blowout, but I didn't think he was going to knock him out, even though it was a technical KO. But technical KO is still a knockout.
Exactly.
Yeah, it was a good fight. What did you make of last week's fight,
though? Do you know what? It was a very entertaining boxing match. See, the thing is, this is the match that everyone wanted to see. People wanted to see Mayweather and McGregor, but that was just, like I said, it was just more curiosity than anything. Like Canelo and GGG for that weight division, they're the 2 top boys, aren't they? Because let's be honest, who else is going to be there? Pacquiao ain't going to.
They're the Kings.
He's done. Pacquiao's done. Amir Khan's done. Like who else is there? So these 2 are they're the big dogs in the pound now, and listen, Canelo is a very good boxer. He's a very, very good boxer, but Golovkin is a different class, man. And I just think like his power in his punch. I always doubted Pacquiao in the sense that he'd move up weight divisions and he'd still maintain that power. When you move up weight divisions, you can't maintain that power because you're obviously training different. You're becoming heavier and whatnot, and maybe the wind behind your punch ain't going to be as quick as normal or hard as possible. But you know, GGG, like Golovkin, man, he's got this ridiculous power, and I think going into the fight, Canelo had more of a psychological advantage in the sense that he had nothing to lose, if that makes sense, because people were already writing him off. And to be honest, the scorecard was fair up until I saw that 118, 110, and I was like, this is bollocks. Where did he? How? I was still trying to comprehend. How did he get 118 and how did he get 110 for? I don't understand. So I said went back on the last show and I said people were saying that McGregor Mayweather was a car accident. It was a farce, but the fight that was meant to bring some integrity back to the sport.
Exactly.
And they shat on everything. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Mayweather had to beat McGregor for the sake of the sport. He had to beat him because if he lost to McGregor, boxing would have died. That'd have been it. There'd be no comeback from the sport. Nothing at all. But obviously he won, and he saved boxing per se. So he kind of like did this nice little segue for these two guys. Say, right, I've beaten this guy. You two take the torch. Do your best. And it was a great fight. Don't get me wrong. But then it was spoiled by these scorecards, and obviously it was in America, and there's a lot of Hispanics, and Golovkin isn't from out there, so the way that the judges work is going to be kind of leaning a little bit towards the home guy, even though Canelo's Mexican. I know he's Central American or whatnot, but when I saw that scorecard, I was like, "Fuck this, man! What's the point in watching the sport anymore? What's the point? What's the point?"
And that's the thing. It's a damn shame because after football, I love boxing, but it's for crap like that you can't argue when people say F boxing because it's the politics involved and Formula One is another one where politics gets involved and it ruins the outcomes of certain results. It's just incredible. I said the entire time, for me, because people for some weird reason kept writing off Golovkin, and I thought to myself, listen, trust me, Golovkin's got this, right? So it was of no surprise to me. Absolutely dominated the match, and to be honest, I thought the draw one was also a shocking short scorecard as well. But I could kind of understand that because I guess they're trying to build up a potential rematch or whatever. But it's such a shame that everyone knew that if Golovkin was going to win, he would have to knock out Canelo because there is absolutely no way Golden Boy are going to let Golovkin win and beat Canelo by points. It's just not going to happen. Yeah. Canelo is their cash cow. He's their cash cow.
Especially in the States, bruv, honestly.
It's such a shame, though. Such a shame. And I just shook my head. I laughed and I went to the... I just thought, can't be serious.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. What I loved most about the end of that fight was Teddy Atlas. He lost his shit, didn't he? You know, saying he's corrupt, and he goes, some people are going to be very upset, and I don't care, yada yada yada. And it's a piss take, wasn't it? Let's be honest, it's a piss take.
Yeah.
And this referee Bird, whatever his name is, he shouldn't be allowed to referee ever again. I don't, or judge. Sorry, I don't understand.
Yeah, I mean, I find it interesting that she was supposed to judge on the UFC 2006, sorry, 216, and they took her off just because of that. Yeah. I just thought, forget taking her off for one event. She needs to be banned for life for that crap. But whatever she got paid, I hope it was worth it. Because my gosh, I know it's been dragged through the mud right now.
Exactly. Well, let's be honest. Canelo didn't do enough to win that fight. That's my honest opinion. And again, Golovkin, man, I remember I saw which round was it where he took a lick, and his face, he didn't even like he didn't even bat an eyelid. And Canelo
No.
was like, "What?
No,
What?
no.
He's like just punched the
took
cyborg, and that was
he took some hefty shots, and like you say, just walked straight through it. I mean, that must be real demoralizing. If you're in a boxing match, you think to yourself, right, I've knocked out so many people with these shots. Bring me Golovkin, I'm gonna have him. And you're just peppering him, and he's just coming forward. You're like, what on earth do I have to do to stop this kid? It's just he, for me, I love Golovkin. I think he's a wonderful boxer. Always a very charming guy whenever he comes across in interviews, even though his English is not great, but you can see he's always a very humble guy. I don't know. It's just shame because now there's that blight on his record, and there shouldn't be that blight on his record.
Yeah,
but politics
again,
for you.
Yeah, I know, man. But if you look at the middleweight division in boxing, right? I mean, who can really challenge him? I don't really know. Like, I know Golovkin is obviously he's the best in that division, and Canelo's, I'd say, second. What, Daniel Jacobs?
Potentially Jacobs. Eubank potentially if he drops back down.
Yeah,
potentially. I think I must admit I do rate Eubank's style. I think he's got a good style. I still think he takes too many shots to ultimately beat a Golovkin. But I do feel like his type of style is eventually what will work against Golovkin. I'm not the biggest Billy Joe fan, even though I will say this for him: he's very effective in what he does. I will never rush to watch a Billy Joe Saunders fight, but he's very effective at what he does. But like you say, probably Jacobs would also be another one, I think.
What about Andy Lee?
I never really rated Andy Lee. I know he was a world champ, and I know that's who effectively Billy Joe beat to get the title, but I've never really been I've always thought he's a good fighter, but I've never really seen him as a world championship caliber fighter. But I mean, there you go. I mean, even right now, there's a fight that's literally just finished between Hughie Fury and Joseph Parker, and that was for a world title. And they're about to announce who won it. And from the bits that I've seen, it looks like we're about to have a new British world champ. And fair play, it's Tyson's damn cousin. It's Tyson's cousin.
Yeah.
And, but that's boxing for you. I like it when it's just nice and clean and there's no politics that get involved. That's what I like to hear.
Yeah.
But
yeah. Well, you got I think Golovkin, if he's been champion for, I think, 7 years or something like that.
Yeah.
WBC, is it WBA? Can't remember which one.
He's
got IBF as well, hasn't he? So it's 3.
He's got 3 now, but I think he's WBC,
WBA, and IBF.
I think I feel like it's the WBC is held on to the longest.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right, because he's got the WBA Super, but the WBA regulars with Hassan Dam, isn't he? That guy from Cameroon.
Yes, you're right.
I think so.
See, you know more about boxing than you let on. Look at you.
You know, I
spitting knowledge out here.
Yeah, because the thing is, when it comes to this division, for some reason I've got this thing about, because obviously Bernard Hopkins was champion for a while, wasn't he? I think it was like decade or something like that. So yeah, I kind of caught my eye a bit, and I've got a couple of mates that are boxers anyway. 2 of them used to be boxers. They've since retired now. So I've had a bit of a vested interest, but when it comes to boxing, you can tell me different divisions. I couldn't tell you, but middleweight is one of my favorites anyway, obviously.
Are you an AJ fan?
Do you know what? I don't have a problem with AJ per se. Like, he seems like a nice guy. I mean, I've seen him in Nando's in Finchley, and like he was taking fight. This is before he became world champion. I think it was just after the Olympics as well. So he was a relative. I well, not he was a nobody, but no one really knew who he was. Too tough. Not now, anyway. And he was taking photographs of people and this and that. And I saw him. In fact, I saw him in Trent Park. Actually, he trains there. He runs with this blonde bird. I think he coaches them. I saw him. He was driving an old Range Rover in Trent Park. This was about 3-4 weeks ago. So he's still a humble guy, bruv. It's not as if like he's got millions and he's fucking around. He's going to Vegas and all that kind of stuff all the time. He's still true to where he comes from. I think he's a Watford boy as well, isn't he? I think he's from Watford originally.
Watford boy, but he spends a lot of his time, like you say, in Finchley, North London, a lot. Spends his time, a lot of his time there.
If you're a millionaire boxer, why would you spend your time in North London, bruv? Do you know what I mean?
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing. Like you say, it's true. So, anywhere else, you'd rather go.
So he's still a humble lad. What I don't like is this circus that surrounds him, because the media are going to portray him as this, the boy next door kind of thing, like really polite, but which he is. But it's too like it's like past the sick bucket kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? Because we know that he's a nice guy, but they're putting so much emphasis on he comes from a humble background, and we know this already. Why are you blowing it up to be like, he's come from literally nothing? He hasn't come from a favela. He hasn't come from the hood. He hasn't come from. Do you know what I mean? He's a very, very good. He's got a lot of potential. I still think he's a bit raw, to be fair, and that's probably because he hasn't really had a serious challenge. I know, like, he had Klitschko, but come on, man. Really?
Well, that, and also his amateur career was stopped short, effectively.
Yeah.
Let's be real here. He turned pro at 18. Sorry, no, he turned amateur at 18 and then was pro by the time he was, what, 22, 23?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because he just come out of the Olympics, he just won the gold, which for a boxer, for you to be an amateur for only 4 years isn't very long.
No.
So he's learning on the job, really, even as a world champ, and he's doing amazingly well. Like you say, his first real acid test was the Klitschko fight, and that fight for me is still fight of the year. I love that fight because almost, and I suppose this comes from my wrestling fan, my time as a wrestling fan. If anything gets me involved emotionally, I love it.
Yep.
And that fight got me involved emotionally, where I just lost myself, and even I was just screaming at the TV like, "Get up, you idiot! Hit him, swing, do something!"
Yeah.
So.
Look who's fighting next. He's fighting some Bulgarian guy who...
Yeah, he's mandatory.
Yeah, well, there you go. I mean, I think he got a bronze in the World Championships 2005 or something like that. That's the only thing I know about him. But again, who's going to fight Anthony? Who's good enough to fight Anthony? Who is up there? I mean, what, Fury? Who's he going to fight? Who's going to fight?
Well, this is the thing. I mean, I suppose what they're all waiting on is for Tyson to get his crap together, and they can just meet and actually fight. Everyone wants to see. I'll be honest. I think that's the fight that most people, provided he can get himself together, is the fight that everyone wants to see: AJ versus Tyson, because those are. Sorry to make this comparison, but it's true. It's almost like the way Vince is trying to build the Roman and Brock match for WrestleMania as being the two who defeated Undertaker. Those are the two who, in recent times at least, defeated Vladimir Klitschko.
Yeah.
So those are the two who, by right, should really fight to see who's the real guy. Who is the real guy? Because a lot of people see Tyson as the real champ. He was stripped for circumstances, not because he lost the match. Whereas with AJ, he defeated Vladimir in such spectacular fashion and retired him. So both of them have legitimate claims to say that they are the guy. And that's the fight that I would say a lot of people want to see. And to be honest, from a psychological point of view, from an intrigue point of view, as a boxing fan, I would love to see that fight because I think it would be a massive test for AJ in a different way because he's so unorthodox. The fight I wouldn't want to like to see for AJ is if AJ fought someone like a David Haye. Right. Say what you want about David Haye, and a lot of people don't like him. I think he's a very intelligent fighter, and I just don't like his style for someone like AJ. Like you said, I think AJ's style is very rigid, and I don't think he would do well with a lot of movement. So I wouldn't personally want to see him fight David Haye.
He's quick, isn't he? He's pretty quick. Let's be honest.
Well, he used to be quick when he was younger, but I'll tell you what, when I saw him fight Tony Bellew, I was surprised how slow he was. He does look like he's in 100 times better shape now than when he fought Tony Bellew earlier this year. But yeah, like you say, his style is that he's quick.
Isn't he fighting Bellew again? Is he fighting him again?
Yeah, so that confirmed. Yeah, it's recently confirmed that it'll be a second fight. There's too much money in the fight, so I knew they were going to fight again. And Tony Bellew wasn't expected to win the first one, so there was always going to be a rematch.
His first fight in the heavyweight division, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Like Tony.
So
I had him on Shoot Defense a while, but he's a lovely guy. Lovely guy.
Oh really? Wow! Oh, I've got to find that episode.
I'll send you the link. I had him with Leon Knight. I just put my feet up and let them talk because they were talking about football.
Oh my gosh! Oh, I've definitely got to find that episode.
Whenever I tell people about,
I love Leon Knight. I love it.
I tell people about this episode, they're like, "Why did I not know about this?" I'm like, "You lot need to know about this, honestly, because honestly, it was fantastic. I didn't get a word in edgeways. I didn't care. I just the stuff." Tony was talking about stuff that he witnessed as an Everton fan with Everton players, and Leon was talking about things that obviously he's seen as a footballer. So the crossover between, and he's a boxing fan as well as Leon. So
he used to play for Chelsea, didn't he?
Yeah,
Leon.
He's at mate. When he was at Chelsea in the youth team, he was training with Zola, Vialli, Leboeuf.
Yeah, he had big players. I remember him. Mate. I remember him.
Yeah, like he told me this story about Winston Bogarde. I don't know if you remember Winston Bogarde. Winston Bogarde was I
remember the name.
Yeah, well, he was in the Ajax academy, and then he joined Barcelona, and then he ended up going to Chelsea on a free transfer. And he was, I think he was the world's highest paid player at the time on like 80 grand a week. It was something ridiculous, and he hardly got a game for Chelsea. But Leon was saying that he goes, every end of the month we'd be in training, and he would walk in with his big leather jacket, looking like Morpheus from. He take his sunglasses off, and he goes, "You know what the date is today?" And Leon's like, "Yeah, I'm just like doing my laces." He goes, "Well, it's Friday, for example." He goes, "Yes, but it's also payday, and I get paid £80,000." So I will buy another Lamborghini, put his glasses on and walk out. And that was it. Like, okay, whatever. He's not getting games, so he's just chilling. Like, good luck to the guy, kind of thing.
No, I love. Honestly, he's definitely, because I first listened to him on another show that Leon does on YouTube, and I just thought to myself, yeah, Filthy Fellas, yeah. And I love how brutal he is, and I like it. And I like how he does it with this ferocity. Like you think he's calm, and he just screams into life. Genuinely, and then even when I saw the segment he did on your show when we lost 4-0 to Liverpool, and he went in, and I was like, I've listened to that episode legitimately 9 times.
Yep.
And I'm crying every single time.
Yep.
Every single time. He's
you just know
character.
When he drops one of those shows when Arsenal lose, it's going to be fire because he goes in. Now I have to edit it, and before I used to bleep out any of the profanity, but I thought, nah, fuck it, man. Do you know what I mean? It's better without it. I just put a warning at the beginning. Like,
a huge disclaimer. If you are easily offended, avoid this.
Yeah, exactly. So that's how I'm going to leave it. I'll leave them. Well, yeah. Well, look, mate, it's 5 to midnight, right?
Mm.
Shall we close it off with a couple of quick bits of information that you probably didn't even know about?
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay, so what happened on this day, 23rd of September? Okay, so because we're still in the 23rd of September, okay? Get this, you're going to love this one. Nintendo is founded in 1889 on the 23rd of September. Nintendo.
Oh, wow.
Yep, and I will read this paragraph out to you. The Japanese gaming company was created by entrepreneur Fusajiro Yamauchi, or whatever, I don't know. I don't speak Japan, as Don Tony says, as a card company called Nintendo Koppai, which was based in Kyoto. The company originally produced and sold playing cards called Hanafuda. The release of Donkey Kong, an arcade game in 1981, brought Nintendo to the forefront of electronic and video games industry. So yeah, 1889, a Japanese gaming company was created, decided to be Nintendo. It was actually a card company. They sold playing cards, I presume.
Oh, wow.
There you go. And on this day in 1932, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia is founded. There you go. Interesting.
Saudi was found. Sorry, what year was it found though?
1932, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. So yes, the Middle Eastern country was created by merging the kingdoms of Hejaz and Nejd by Ibn Saud, the king of House of Saud. The day is celebrated as Saudi National Day in the kingdom. See, if we were in Saudi Arabia, we probably would have got a day off.
Oh, wow.
But again, it's Saturday, isn't it? So you probably have a day off anyway. Have you been to the Middle East by any chance, or like Dubai? Or
No, it's definitely on my hit list though. I really want to go. Really want to go.
My friend, I will tell you this now, and like I tell all my friends, right? Dubai is the best place I've ever been to. Forget the human rights bollocks, because I hear people saying, oh, you know, they bring in people from India and Pakistan and they take their passports away and they make them work in difficult conditions and yada, yada, yada. Okay, fine. But it happens everywhere in the world. You mean to tell me that slave labor doesn't occur in other countries that we go to? It doesn't. You know, there aren't any ethical or moral boundaries that are crossed in the UK or in America? Of course there are. It's just that it's magnified because it's an Arabic state. But when I tell you, my friend, when you push all of that to the side, the money that I can spend going to visit relatives in Cyprus for an extra grand, I can go to Dubai, stay in a probably 5 or 6 star hotel. And these are 5, 6 star hotels which are quality. Right, the 5 or 6 star hotels you see in Europe are nothing compared to these ones. You know, we stay. I say we, me and the missus, or me and Rita, as I call her. There's a hotel called the Jebel Ali, right, and it's actually a golf and spa resort, and it's on the outskirts of Dubai because it's right by the beach. Right, get this. You've got about 1, 2, 3, 4 swimming pools to choose from. It's right by the beach, so you can go in the sea as well. On the far right-hand side of the hotel, you've got a dock where they actually park their yachts and their fucking speedboats and all that kind of shit. And beside that, you've got a golf course and a gym and all that kind of shit and a sports bar. So you don't really need to leave the hotel because it's got restaurants inside as well. It's phenomenal. And like I said, the money that you spend, the service is incredible. You know, everyone is cool. Like the crime rate is only like 7% out there, so you don't have to worry about getting mugged at 3 o'clock in the morning or whatever, because that shit don't happen. Like I said, I can talk about Dubai all day, all night. I haven't been to Abu Dhabi. That's somewhere I'd like to go, but because of the whole Man City connection, I'm a bit reluctant to go there.
I can imagine.
Again, once you see past that, it doesn't matter. You know, it's just one of those things. But yeah, I advise anyone to go to this place because the experience is phenomenal. I've got a mate that's moved out there to do some football coaching, and he's showing me pictures on Instagram. You know, they're in the mall. There's an indoor ski slope, like a ski ice rink. They've got an aquarium, a massive aquarium with sharks and stingrays and everything in one of the malls. They're massive, man. They do it big. I mean, the biggest building in the world, the Burj Khalifa, is in Dubai. The biggest building in the world.
It's expensive, though, isn't it?
It really isn't. It really
No?
isn't. It really isn't, because
That's the impression I get out over there.
No, you know what it is? Because you see a lot of footballers go out there. Believe me, it's not as expensive as you'd think. I mean, I can safely tell you that we went in. When did we go? It was the day after the Europa League final, so it was in May. We went in May, and for 3 of us, like I said, because of my kid is now 3 years old, so we have to pay for her seat and the hotel room and all that kind of shit. Actually, no, you still have to pay for the hotel room, but you have to pay for her seat on the aeroplane because she's free. But it came to £3,500 for 3 of us, and we took about £600-700 spending money because it was all inclusive anyway. So you had dinner and breakfast at the hotel. So why would you need to go out and buy stuff? And yeah, you could buy stuff for your room like snacks and whatnot and put it in the fridge or whatever. But effectively, everything is in the hotel. So you don't really need to go out and spend money unless you're going to do shopping and go to the souks where you can buy your fake bags, as your missus would probably like to do. You know, the fake Fendis, the fake Marc Jacobs, the fake Gucci's, whatever. You go there, but even then they're still cheap. Even then they're still remotely cheap. So, like I said, there's this misconception about the place. And let's be honest, they got a shop called Carrefour, which is like a Walmart or an Asda, and everything's dirt cheap in there anyway. So if you want drinks, you get a bottle of water for like 50 cents or something like that, however much it costs. It's like I said, this is misconception because you've got all of these actors and footballers and that kind of shit going to Dubai. Yeah, there's expensive parts. Because when you're looking at the 7-star hotels where it's like $3,000 a night, yeah. But for you and I, we're not going to go to these places. We're going to go to the affordable places, and believe me, the affordable places are probably just as good as the really expensive places. Yeah, obviously the really expensive places are going to have more to do and a better service kind of thing. But listen, you and I, we just want to go chill. We want to just go read a book by the pool or sunbathe or whatever. Like it's just one of those things, man. Just one of those things. But like I said, try it out. I can sell Dubai to people because I've been there 5 times. So, and I'd rather go there.
5 times.
But I'd rather go there than go to Cyprus, where my family is, because it's not holiday when you go back to somewhere like that because you're constantly visiting people. When they find out they
Agreed.
come to our house, it's like Agreed. Come to our house Tuesday. My missus has got 5 uncles in Cyprus. Sorry, 4 uncles in Cyprus, so one of them lives in Italy. Right? Now imagine there's 4 uncles out there and they've all got wives and kids and they're all inviting you around. Now, if you go there for 10 days and 4 of them invite you to their house, so that's 4 days gone, right? So that leaves you with 6 days. Now I've got family as well, right? So it's seeing this one and seeing that one. And yeah, you can turn around and say, no, I'm not going to do it. But they get offended. And it's too much of a hassle. It's too much of a hassle. So it's like, okay, we'll go visit this one that day, this one that day. And what makes it worse is that Cyprus, even though it's a small island, there's only like 1 million people that live there. To go from one end of the island to the other, it's about 3 hours, 2.5, 3 hours, right? So if you're staying in, say, okay, I'll give you an example. I stayed in Paphos, which is on the never eat, trade eat, on the western side of Cyprus. So, and the Mrs. Rita's family are in Nicosia. So that'll take me about 2 hours, now 45 minutes to get there, right? Now, you go around there for dinner, they don't eat till like 8, 9 o'clock, right? And then by the time you finish eating, talking, this and that, it's like 11 o'clock, 11:30. You're tired. I need to drive back. No, stay with us tonight. No, we paid for a hotel. Stay with us. It's fine. No, it's dangerous. You can't drive back. The roads are dark. Yes, I know this. That's why I wanted to leave earlier, but you guys decided to start cooking at fucking 8:30. So what do you want? So I'm backing like 3 cans of Red Bull in the hope that I don't get too wired, that I hit the fucking accelerator and I'm doing 120 on the motorway and I'm going to get pulled over by police who are going to ask me for ID, thinking that, you know, I'm some kind of doctor because I've pulled out some British driving license. Do you know what I mean? So it's, yeah, there you go. I've just gone off on one. It's like I'm talking to my mum now. You know?
No.
Why are you going to Dubai? We've got relatives in Cyprus. You can save some money. Why would I want to go to Cyprus? Tell me, mum. Why?
No, I'm with you. Because my mum and dad also have humongous families in Nigeria, and although I know I definitely need to have gone more recently than I have done when it comes to going to Nigeria, but I'll be honest, it just isn't the first priority whenever I think about a holiday. No. Like I say, a holiday, you either want to sightsee, do stuff, you don't want to see, with all due respect, relatives.
Exactly.
That just like relatives, and it's not. It'd be one thing if it was relatives you know. More often than not, it's relatives that you've either met once ages ago, or ones that are like long lost and have all of a sudden been found. And you're like, hi, okay, hello, nice to meet you. You know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, totally with you. I can empathise with every word.
Yeah. Look, on a final note, man, I'm going to ask you a quick question about relatives, actually. Do they often come over to the UK to visit?
Never.
No, never, really.
Never. So I mean, don't get me wrong. I have relatives in the UK, but no, genuinely, they never come over. Never. Not to my knowledge. No, tell a lie. Tell a lie. Once they came over to America, to England. That was about 6 years ago.
Yeah.
But generally, nope, never.
And did they stay in a hotel? Or did they stay with your family? Like,
oh, my family.
Yeah.
Which means I was expected to go there and, you know, spend time there. And, you know, I love my mum dearly, but I don't tend to go to the house that often. So, but whenever the relatives are there, of course, that means I have to visit more often than I normally would.
See, this is the thing, like, and I was saying this to my mum. I was like, well, we go out there, you have to visit them, otherwise they get offended, right? They come out here on holiday, you have to visit them, otherwise they get offended. So they will come over, and let's be honest, the ones, obviously, I'm talking about my family. I'm not talking about all of the Greeks in general. Maybe it's just my family. I don't know, but it happens with the missus as well. They come over and they refuse to hire cars. They refuse to. Okay, not that they refuse to stay in hotels, but they'd rather not stay in a hotel because they expect us to invite them to stay around ours. And then at the same time, well, if we're in the way, let us know. Well, we're not going to say to you, you're in the way. I mean, you've already invited yourself anyway, kind of thing. But the fact is like you're kind of taking to, if they don't know London, or if they're not confident driving around London, the hospitable thing to do is to take time off work to be that kind of tour guide. Now, I did it once when my cousin came over with his wife, which is cool because speaks a bit of English. Her English is brilliant. Her English is phenomenal. Like, it's better than mine, to be honest. She's very well spoken, and she'd never been to England before she married him. But, you know, they came over the first time, and I did the whole like Big Ben, Houses of Parliament, blah blah blah, all that bollocks, and you kind of realize that there's so much more to London than you actually think. You know, when you put yourself in the shoes of a tourist, when you're driving them here and there, you notice things more. But since they came over the first time, they've been over 4 more times after that, and they just get on with their own shit. They'll be like, well, you know, we're going to stay in a hotel, you know, you can meet us if you want to. They just get on with it. But then you've got other relatives, or when I've got other relatives that come over, they're like, well, I don't know where I'm going. I don't know what to do. You're like, for fuck's sake, like, you know, you're translating as well. You know, you take them to the shops and they've seen something. And again, their mentality is totally different. They would look at something and they'd take their time over it. And, oh man, it's just, it kills me, which is why, like, my mum's always like, you know what, you're too, I can put it, you're completely opposite to what you should be. You know, you should be hospitable. You should be someone. Listen, I ain't got time for this, man. I shouldn't be like this, but as I said on previous shows, I'm an only child, so I'm used to being alone. Even when I'm out with the missus and the kid, sometimes like, leave me alone. Just let me do my own thing for a bit. Give me 10 minutes to myself, because I feel like, how can I put it? Like I'm being suffocated. Even though they're not doing it, I just feel suffocated because as an only child, I like my freedom sometimes, you know. So when I'm sitting on my own reading a book or just doing my own thing, listening to my headphones or whatever, and people are like, oh, you're being antisocial. It's not me being antisocial. It's just me being an only child and I'm used to being it. So I just need my alone time. If that makes sense.
True. Yeah, I can understand that. And I'm personally someone that on the odd occasion likes their own company. So I can definitely empathize with that feeling as well, to be honest.
There you go. Great stuff. We agree on something. We agree on many things, Chris.
Yeah, we do. When we're not talking about football, we do.
Well, let's be honest. I mean, yeah, we've had a few disagreements on your show, which I think you should give a quick plug actually before we wrap things up.
Yeah. So basically, it's Guna Eagle Eye. It's doing pretty well recently. Stel was with me for more or less the very first one, and I can imagine you've even noticed, particularly recently, the numbers I'm
Yeah,
getting in terms of
very
views and
impressive, mate.
stuff.
Very impressive. I need to take a leaf out of your book somehow.
Oh well, I don't know about all that. I think you're doing pretty well myself, but I think it's just a case of, and I remember you've told me this pretty early on. It's just consistency of
Yeah,
putting material out, and fortunately, people are liking what I'm doing, which always helps. Um, Whether you're an Arsenal, and I think also the fact that it's not just about Arsenal fans. Yes, it's very Arsenal focused, but because I have people like yourself, Robbie Richmond, I have a couple of other people on there who are not necessarily Arsenal fans, but will have a take on the way Arsenal are performing. So it appeals to the wider football, or if you're from America listening to this, soccer. It has a wider audience.
yeah,
So it is an enjoyable time. It's something I'm enjoying a lot. As Stel knows already, it's a show that I've always wanted a slight second career out of. So it is something that I genuinely have an interest in, and I'm genuinely enjoying. And yeah, do go check it out. I'm on YouTube. It's Gune Eagle Eye, and give me a subscribe. You won't regret it.
no, absolutely. No, I agree, mate. You got like 1,500 subscribers, and one of your biggest shows was hit 14,000 views, which is just like Jesus Christ, like that's impressive.
Yeah,
That's impressive
yeah.
to say the least. I think one had 18,000, wasn't it? Your Wenger letter, or something like that.
Yeah, my letter to Wenger, which was something I thought of last minute, and it flew. It just took off, and that day I gained like nearly 200 subs just off the back of
Yeah,
that video. It was crazy, but
crazy.
yeah, it was. I
When are
sometimes.
YouTube paying you now? When are they gonna get the checkbook out and say, right, you're getting X amount of hits?
Well, I mean that's the aim, Blimey. That is the aim. It's the aim is to grow it to a point where I can, you know, almost gain a really healthy kind of income from it. So whether that is through YouTube advertising, whether that's through sponsorships, that of course is the eventual aim out of it. But until I get to that point, I'm just enjoying it. I'm having fun.
Mm.
It saves me moaning at either my girlfriend when Arsenal lose, or the boys when I moan too much on WhatsApp. So it's a nice little outlet for me. So I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it a lot.
Long may it continue, my friend, because you're doing a fantastic job. Doing a very, very
Thank you,
good
brother.
job.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Thank you very much, man.
No problem. Well, look, give our viewers or our listeners your Twitter address so they can get in contact with you and bombard you with questions about the Arsenal.
Yeah, it's at Colossal Chig. That's CHIG. And thank you very much for having me on, mate. I appreciate it. And you're killing it, man. As I said on my show yesterday, I don't know how you do these two shows between the Bloke Show and your Shoot the Defense podcast. You are literally a guru at this stuff, and you're
Well,
doing amazingly well.
yeah. Well, the money ain't coming in yet, my friend. Once the money starts coming in, then we can talk.
Don't worry, you'll get there, no doubt. You'll
Mate,
definitely
listen,
get there.
you know as well as I do, it's all about being committed, all about being patient and having time to do this. I was looking at the figures on FNX, our lovely network in Australia, who I can't thank enough for their support because they've been absolutely phenomenal. Really, you should think about getting your stuff on their
Yeah, you've told me that before for sure. I could definitely see you. I do like the FNX network myself, so it is
yeah.
something I'll have to look into for sure.
It's incredible. I mean, to be fair, the shoot defense views on YouTube are rubbish. I'm not going to lie to you. The figures are crap. I mean, it's not even worth me having it on YouTube for live streaming. But it's good to have video content. But on FNX, I mean, the last 3 shows that we did, one had just under 10,000 views, one had just over 8,000, and one had just over 9,000. That's just 3 shows. And the Bloke Show ones, I'm going to go to the old Bloke Show one because let me just rummage through this one because my jaw dropped when I saw this because the last show I did was the 19th of May.
All right.
and that got 69,467 views.
Wow.
Yeah, which is ridiculous. And the one before that got 68,867. So, and the one before that had 71,263. So I'm doing something right with the Bloke Show. I'm getting more hits on the Bloke Show than I am with Shoot the Defense, which is strange. But yeah, I don't know whether I'm going to get the same amount of listens now because it's been a while since I last did one, and maybe people just lost interest. But let's see. You can only gauge. Was it they say in football? You're only as good as your previous result, your latest result. So
Agreed.
yeah, let's see how things go. But good luck to you, man, and thanks again for your time because it's midnight, and I guess you probably need your beauty sleep or preparing for Arsenal on Monday, right?
Wow, getting there. Getting there. I'm more concerned with my fantasy football team, which I just checked, and it did horrendously.
How many points did you get?
26.
26.
Yeah, and I'm in a little mini league with the boys, and one of them got like 61. So I need to investigate what happened this week.
Are you in the Shoot the Defense League, my friend? Are you doing the Premier League fantasy, or are you doing the Sun?
I'm doing the Sky one.
Are you doing the Sky one? Okay, so I didn't do one. Sorry, I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't do a Sky one. I did the Premier League one. I'm cheap. It's free.
Fair enough.
Whatever. Right. Yeah. So, guys, if you're still listening or watching, you can give us a follow on Twitter at the Bloke Show UK. I think is it at the Bloke Show UK? Yeah, it is at the Bloke Show UK. See, it's been such a while since I've been doing this show. I keep forgetting the Twitter handle. You can follow mine at On A Madness. We have a Facebook group page, so join it because we post a lot of shit on it. Loads of people contribute as well, and they enjoy our sense of humor. We enjoy this. So, Chiggy, thank you very much for your time, man. And,
no problem, bro. No problem.
I'm going to wrap this up and just kick the stop broadcast button any second now.